Behind the velvet ropes and studio-manufactured purity of old Hollywood, some silver screen sirens wrote their own rules about love. Today on Hollywood Echoes, we're revealing 10 old Hollywood divas infamous for their romantic escapades. The actresses whose bedroom exploits scandalized Tinseltown while the studios worked overtime to cover them up. From legendary love affairs to bedroom politics that shaped careers, these divas proved that off-screen passion could be just as dramatic as their on-screen roles. 1. Mae West. Mae West didn't just break Hollywood rules, she rewrote them. In an era when women were expected to be quiet and modest, Mae strutted onto the screen dripping in diamonds, wit, and double entendres. She penned many of her own lines, delivering one-liners that shocked censors and delighted audiences. But Mae didn't just play a bold woman, she was one. Off-camera, she surrounded herself with muscle-bound men decades younger, holding court like a queen with her personal stable of lovers, boxers, actors, dancers. If they had charm and biceps, Mae probably flirted with them. She famously lived with one of her boyfriends for years, a black bodybuilder, during a time when interracial relationships were taboo. Mae West was more than a sex symbol. She was a revolution draped in satin. In a world that tried to silence women like her, Mae purred back. When I'm good, I'm very good, but when I'm bad, I'm better. 2. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was Hollywood royalty, but behind the arched eyebrows and designer gowns was a woman whose love life was just as dramatic as her films. Married 5 times, her husbands included actors, executives, and a Pepsi-Cola CEO, yet it was her rumored affairs that truly stirred the whispers. She was said to have had romantic entanglements with Clark Gable, and behind closed doors, allegedly with women like Barbara Stanwyck and even a young Marilyn Monroe. Crawford moved through love like she moved through Hollywood, ambitious, calculated, and unapologetic. Her relationships were passionate and often volatile, just like her legendary feud with Bette Davis. While some called her manipulative, others saw a woman trying to control a world that constantly tried to control her. Whether on a film set or in a lover's arms, Joan Crawford was always playing to win, and she never played small. 3. Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead wasn't just a Hollywood star, she was a storm in heels and a martini in hand. Wildly charismatic, she burned through stages, film sets, and lovers with equal ferocity. Tallulah was openly bisexual in a time when that could end careers, but she never cared. Her lovers included both Gary Cooper and Greta Garbo, and her parties were legendary for their decadence. She drank hard, smoked constantly, and spoke with a voice that sounded like gravel dipped in whiskey. She once told an interviewer, "My only regret in life is that I didn't drink more champagne." She flouted conventions with flair, once showing up to a party in nothing but a fur coat and nothing underneath. To some, she was scandalous. To others, she was electric. Tallulah didn't just break the mold, she lit it on fire and danced in the ashes, laughing louder than anyone else in the room. 4. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow was Hollywood's original blonde bombshell, the woman who turned platinum hair and red lips into a symbol of danger and desire. Her screen presence was magnetic, but her real life was just as captivating and tragic. Married 3 times before the age of 26, Jean's relationships were short, stormy, and often scandalous. She had an intense romance with actor William Powell, and rumors swirled that she was briefly involved with notorious gangster Bugsy Siegel. Off-screen, Jean was playful and warm, beloved by cast and crew, but behind her, laughter was a trail of heartbreak. Her second husband took his own life, and Jean herself died at just 26 from kidney failure. But even in death, her legend only grew. Harlow wasn't just a star, she was a firework that burned too brightly to last, leaving behind a glow that still haunts old Hollywood. 5. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner had the face of an angel and the soul of a wildcat. Known as one of the most alluring women in Hollywood, she lived unapologetically, chasing love and pleasure with equal passion. Her most famous romance was with Frank Sinatra, a love affair so fiery it nearly destroyed them both, but neither could ever fully let go. Before and after Frank, Ava's lovers included the mysterious Howard Hughes and the Spanish bullfighter Luis Miguel Dominguín, whom she described as mad, dangerous, and beautiful. She drank, cursed, and lived by her own rules, once saying, "I either write the story or I become the story." And she always became the story. Even as the studios tried to tame her, Ava refused to be anyone but herself. She wasn't built for quiet domesticity, she was built for legend, carved out of wine, poetry, and flame. 6. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe wasn't just the blonde bombshell Hollywood adored. She was a woman entangled in the shadows of power, secrecy, and longing. Behind the breathy voice and dazzling smile was someone far more complex. Her lovers weren't just fellow actors, they were titans. She had intimate ties with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, relationships clouded in mystery and rumored to have contributed to her downfall. She also shared passionate moments with Marlon Brando and French actor Yves Montand. But for all the fame and allure, Marilyn's heart always seemed to be searching for something deeper. Love, perhaps, or simply safety. Her relationships were often filled with manipulation and heartbreak, mirroring the pain she carried from childhood. She was both a fantasy and a fragile reality, desired by millions, truly known by few. In the end, Marilyn wasn't just undone by fame, but by the tangled web of lovers, politics, and loneliness that defined her final years. 7. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was the face men dreamed of during World War II, her image plastered on barracks across the globe. But behind the sultry gaze was a woman longing for something real. Married 5 times, including to director Orson Welles and Prince Ali Khan, Rita's personal life was a whirlwind of romance, betrayal, and heartbreak. She fell hard and fast, often for men who couldn't keep up with her fame or understand her softness beneath the stardom. Glenn Ford, Victor Mature, and others drifted through her life like passing scenes in one of her Technicolor films. Despite her title as the love goddess, Rita once said, "Men go to bed with Gilda, but wake up with me." It was a quiet plea from a woman constantly performing, even off-screen. In love, she was generous and vulnerable, but rarely protected. For all her beauty, Rita was a prisoner of the roles others gave her, especially in the realm of romance. 8. Lana Turner. Lana Turner lived a life that could have been scripted for the silver screen, and often was. The radiant starlet was known as much for her talent as for the turmoil that surrounded her love life. Her most infamous romance was with Johnny Stompanato, a violent mobster whose jealous rages left Lana terrified. Their relationship ended in a scene straight from noir fiction. Stompanato was stabbed to death by Lana's teenage daughter during a heated domestic dispute. The scandal rocked Hollywood, but it wasn't Lana's first brush with chaos. Her romantic history was dotted with powerful men, broken promises, and emotional wounds. She sought love desperately but often found herself in the grip of danger. Despite it all, she remained poised, camera-ready, and fiercely protective of her daughter. Lana wasn't just a screen goddess, she was a survivor, navigating fame and violence with trembling grace and steely resolve. 9. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was more than just one of the most beautiful women in film. She was a mind far ahead of her time. But beneath her brilliance lay a restless heart. Married 6 times, she seemed constantly in search of a connection that matched both her intellect and her passion. She had affairs with Spencer Tracy and Howard Hughes, men drawn to her for more than just her looks. With Hughes, she found a fellow innovator. With Tracy, a man who admired her complexity. Yet love always seemed to slip through her fingers. Hedy once confessed, "Any girl can be glamorous. All you have to do is stand still and look stupid." But she never stood still. When not acting, she was inventing, co-developing technology that would later become the foundation for Wi-Fi. Still, her love life remained chaotic, often with men who saw her as decoration rather than equal. Hedy dazzled the world but rarely found someone who truly saw her. Zaza Gabor was the original diva, glamorous, sharp-tongued, and unapologetically extravagant. With 9 marriages and countless flirtations, Zaza turned love into a lifestyle. Her husbands included hotel magnates, actors, and even royalty, and she famously quipped, "I am a marvelous housekeeper. Every time I leave a man, I keep his house." She never shied away from admitting that she liked her men wealthy and her diamonds even bigger. Yet beneath the feathers and furs was a woman who understood the performance of love, the power of femininity, and the art of survival in a man's world. She often blurred the lines between sincerity and satire, keeping the world guessing. For Zaza, love was less about soulmates and more about spectacle. She didn't search for stability, she courted attention, luxury, and legacy. And in that glittering chaos, she found immortality as Hollywood's most charming heartbreaker. While the tabloids called them wanton, today we might call these women pioneers of sexual liberation in a repressive era. Which of these divas do you think was simply playing by her own rules? Sound off in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more uncensored Hollywood histories. After all, the greatest performances often happened off camera.